All right, guys, we're going to go over how do you know if what the seller is saying he or she wants for it? How do you know if it's a fair price, if they want too much, or if it's a good deal, or if they don't tell you how much they want for it, how much can you offer, right? Is this a good deal? And this is a quick snapshot of the deal. It's a kind of a back of the napkin calculation. I'm going to show you this is not underwriting the deal, but if you're wanting to make a soft offer or an offer range like we will learn in another video, this is how we even get to an area of a ballpark area of, hey, does this work, right? Or is this seller crazy or whatever? So in this example, right here, I'm going to use gross annual revenue. I'm using cap rates, by the way. If you don't know what a cap rate is, you're just going to have to look it up, do some research. Cap rates are tricky. You'll get more comfortable with cap rates as you progress in your investing career. Different markets, different cap rates, different times of the cycle, or in today's world, cap rates are a little bit higher because interest rates are high. And so if interest rates were really low, people you'll typically see lower cap rates. But anyway, okay. First example, seller needs to either tell you one of two things. They either need to tell you how much they want for it, which is the best thing that they can tell you, or they need to tell you what it's making. So when a seller says, well, what are you going to offer me? You say, well, in order to do that, ma'am or sir, my job is to go ahead and try and figure out what I can pay for your property, what's fair market value. And in order for me to do that, I need your gross revenue. And you ask for them for their gross annual revenue. If you ask for gross revenue and they'll be like, I made $16,000 a month this year. Well, that doesn't really matter because rent fluctuates, revenue fluctuates throughout the year. So what you would like to do is, like, right now it's February. I would love to say, or I would ask them, hey, can you show me your gross annual revenue for 2023? Great. Now you have a trailing 12 months of revenue. So you can get a general idea of how this asset performed over 1 year, right? So let's say the seller says, $400,000. Cool. So you're going to take that $400,000 and then you're going to take away a 35% expense ratio. What does that mean? That means I'm in my pro forma when I'm underwriting a deal, I'm going to assume that my expenses in operating that facility are going to be around 35%. A lot of times they're less the more facilities you own because you start sharing operational costs within your portfolio. But right now, 33 to 35 is safe unless you're in a state with high property taxes or you're in an area that has you're in a considered like a catastrophic area insurance wise and your insurance is astronomical. But otherwise, typically 35 is a safe bet. So I'm going to take the 400K. I'm going to deduct 35% expense ratio. How do I do that? I'm going to just times 400,000 times 0.65. That's going to spit out my net income, projected net income, but without paying your principal and interest payments. So it's net income before your mortgage. I'm going to take that net income and then I'm going to start plugging in cap rates, right? And this is why it's so important what kind of cap you're paying for a property. A lot of times you'll see something on the market and a broker will say selling at a 6 cap or 5 cap. You can see here a 5 to 8 cap goes from $3 to $5 million, $2 million difference just based on plugging in different cap rates. You guys have access to our cap rate calculator we've created for our virtual assistants where they can plug in gross revenue. It spits out a 7 to 9 cap, and that's what we offer sellers. Why? Because typically, depending on whether the seller is going to carry the note or we have to go get financing through a bank, 7 to 9 cap, if the seller says yes or we're close in that range, that usually gives us a confidence that is a deal we want to further explore. Now, I've bought 4 and 5 caps, but that's because there was a lot of runway on those to make them make a lot more money, right? But we're not going to get into that here. So you have your 260, and now you divide it by the different cap rates. So you take your 260, and then you're dividing it by 0.06 to get what a 6 cap's worth. Or 260 divided by 0.05 to get a 5 cap. And that's going to spit out your different prices of what you could potentially pay for the deal. A trick I learned in wholesaling single family is I would never give one price because could potentially chase away an owner. So I give a range. Well, sir or ma'am, if you're making 400,000, let's see what a 9 cap is really quick here. We'll do it together on this. Actually, let's not do that because then you see my messy screen. So we'll go back to here. Okay, cool. So we'll plug it in, and I'm going to take the 260. I'm going to divide it by a 0.09. 2.8 million. So I would say, well, I'm somewhere around 2.8 million. That's our 7 cap to 3.7 million, depending on what the terms are, whether you're willing to carry the paper and do a seller finance transaction, or if I have to go get a bank loan. Obviously, with high interest rates, if I go get a bank loan, I can't pay as much for it, right? And you give them a range, and then the range starts the conversation. Until you give that offer range, nothing really means anything. These sellers are getting calls all the time, inquiries, oh, I want to buy your property, But until you start talking numbers, nothing happens. This is really important. The other way to use this back of the napkin calculation is if the seller says, I want $6 million. And you go, okay, and what are you making? Right? So you take their 400 revenue, you take away your 35%, you got your 260, and then you just reverse engineer the same equation and you say 260,000 divided by what they're asking spits out a 4 cap. And so quickly, if I am told you're making 400 grand, I do take out 35% expense ratio. You want 6 million. I divide that and I get a 4 cap, and I can basically be like, okay, cool. I'm nowhere near a 4 cap. With today's market value, sir or ma'am, I'm closer to 7 cap, which would be around 3.7 million. I am assuming, we're not even close, and they'll be like, nope, thank you, right? But 2 ways of using this quick back of the napkin calculation. Guys, this is just a quick snapshot. This, we do make offers off of this, but in order for you to really obviously understand a deal, you're going to have to then underwrite the deal. But this is how we get things moving. This is how we make sometimes same day offers on the spot, because you often have to move fast. Hope this helps. See you on the next video.